The wind. Oh. Hey, happy Thursday, everybody.
The winds be whipping. The winds be whipping.
And getting worse.
Right before we started, Mercedes looked at Autumn and was like, "Can we talk weather?" And we're like, "What about the? Is it supposed to be bad? Am I missing something?"
We went on a
It's just
shoot
windy.
earlier. We went on a shoot earlier for Seven Life,
Mhm.
and the wind like blew me through the door. Like it was crazy. Like it's so hard you can't even breathe.
Yeah.
Have you ever had that? Yeah, I couldn't even breathe.
Well, this morning it was a sheet of ice in my driveway. It still is. You want to talk about like something laughable? I looked like Bambi on ice as I was trying to get down to get
You
the
gotta
garbage,
waddle.
and you legitimately waddle, and you're like scooting down the ice. It was a disaster outside. It was disgusting.
So I'm gonna tell you what happened when I went out the back door this morning. We have 3 steps going out the back.
Oh no.
They were all ice,
Oh,
and
no.
I was like, I cannot fall. So I stepped out of the house, and then there was a patch of snow on the side of my stairs. I jumped on the patch of snow so that I wouldn't fall,
Yeah.
and then walked through the snow. But I
Okay.
jumped off my porch onto the patch of snow because I'm like, if I fall, this is not good.
That's
Yeah.
smart thinking.
Yeah, but I was jumping off. I'm sure my neighbors were like, "What is happening over there?"
Yeah, we've got, our weather's just been very interesting. Now, we were above freezing, so then we had everything kind of turned to rain. Things are beginning to melt. Now the winds are increasing because the temperatures are going to drop back down tonight. So anything that's now been liquid is going to refreeze, and we
Oh,
have
good.
wind gusts to around 50 miles an hour into the early overnight. So even when you were out earlier, not as strong of gusts as
No.
what we'll have into the next several hours. So
I was
there you have it.
this morning. I was in the dollar store, and a woman looked at me. It was, my daughter and I were there, and we were at the cash register, and she looked, and she was like, "Can you believe we choose to live here?" And I was like, "No, it's funny. I wonder about that all the time. There's places where it's warm, and it's not a sheet of ice where you can wake up in the morning. But hey, it's Buffalo. It's
Do
what
y'all want to
it's-
be snowbirds?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Oh,
I think,
Yes.
number one goal in the world.
Is it?
it's not even the fact of being a snowbird. Like I like the snow. I like to do things that involve snow, but
Mhm.
the fact of not seeing the sun
Yeah.
for so
That
like
part is
the
hard.
the clouds
Yeah.
are just so hard.
Yeah,
Like,
that
I
part-
was
that
we
part
were-
is
I
hard.
was looking at it, making my forecast and doing the 7-day today, and I was just like looked out the window and I looked at the 7-day and I'm like, oh, sunshine. That'd be so great to have at some point.
The goal would be to leave January 2nd and come back
You went back to it.
maybe May. That would be the goal, I think, at some point in life.
Yeah,
I
because
know-
our winters go long.
Yeah, I just think that I love the holidays. And, God willing, I have a family. And if one day that means grandkids or that means extended family, whatever it is, see, that's the thing. Babe. Oh, I love Keith. Hi, Keith. I in a lot of ways, I want Keith's life in a lot of ways. So he's watching from Florida right now. What I want to do is what Keith did. I mean, Keith is a snowbird. He goes down and he lives in Naples, and then he comes back in the summer when it's beautiful in Western New York. I would want to be here a little bit longer. I think I would want to be here for, the tail end of spring and then all the way through the fall and through the holidays. But yeah, I mean, that's like the greatest thing ever.
Yeah,
I mean, you get the best of both worlds. It's incredible.
really
I
do.
absolutely want to do it.
And you think of, okay, well, you don't want to be away from your kids or whatever extended family
They can
ends up
visit.
happening. Exactly.
They can
And they'll
visit.
we are
want
thinking
to.
alike today, man.
They
They'll
can
want
visit.
to.
Yeah.
We've been telling my in-laws, like, go ahead, go to Florida, please, just go to. They're like, no, we can't leave you guys. Like, yes, you can. We'll visit.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too is I do think it would be a really cool concept or idea to have a place and then have everybody be able to flock to the place. You know what I
Yes.
mean? It's like if you have a big family, it's like, hey, we've got this house. Come down in April. Come down the
Yeah.
week before Easter. Come down whenever you're off of school. There's going to be people
Yeah.
here. Make yourself at home. I really, really love the idea of that.
Yeah.
But it's a tricky thing to try and navigate now because one, I'm too young, and my wife works a school schedule. So a school schedule when she is available.
Oh, it's hot.
It's
Yeah.
well, it's not even just it's hot. It's just that's the most popular time because
Mm-hmm.
everybody's off of school. You don't want to be there when everybody's down there.
No,
You
I
want
want
to
to be there when it's cold here.
exactly. You want to be there in January and February and March,
right.
and then when it's still snowing in April, you can see on Facebook and laugh and go, "Oh yeah, man, that's tough." Just
Yeah.
see you guys in a month.
Remember those days.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So how long is it going to be? Are we going to be frozen?
Yes.
forever.
Her answer was just yes.
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 Yeah.
Do you know how long we're going to be frozen? Somebody's asking.
The entire week,
Oh,
the next 7 days, and probably beyond that, because then this weekend, so from Saturday afternoon to early Sunday morning, we'll get another storm system to come through, and that's looking like it's moving south, so less of an impact of ice, freezing rain, that type of thing, but more of an impact of cold and snow. So that could bring several inches. That could maybe be 3 to 6. I mean, we'll see.
But south.
Yeah, no, that's even you.
Somebody
It's
came
even
up
you.
to me in Wegmans. I think I
I'm
told you guys
sorry,
this
Lori.
a week ago. Or sorry, I don't know if I'm allowed to. Somebody came up to me in Schmegmans. I don't know what I'm allowed to
we
say.
have no clue.
Exactly. And she laughed. I was with Ellie, and she goes, "I love how you always talk about how it doesn't snow on Grand Island." And I was like, "Right?"
It's
She
ridiculous.
was like, "I live on Grand Island. You're right." And I was like, "Heck yeah." She's like, "Keep on fighting the good fight." I was like, I will continue to say
We
that.
don't love that.
Yeah, well, it's
He
always
sends those photos bragging.
always sunny and 75 on Grand
My
Island.
parents are in Gettsville, and they don't get much
No?
snow either
No.
at all.
And it's easy to say the city is the line, but I don't actually believe that. I feel like the city still gets it more than even like the village of Kenmore. I feel like that's more a little bit north of
and
the
especially
city.
South Buffalo. South Buffalo.
South
will
Buffalo gets
get
hammered.
Yeah,
times.
yeah,
Yeah.
they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Do you think that this has been a bad winter? What is our
I
barometer?
say yes.
You say yes?
It was kind of warm in the beginning, though. Winter was kind of late, no? Like through the holidays, it wasn't that bad. It's like more recent, like the last month.
Well, it has been quite cold in January, but we've had big storms in December.
Yeah.
And late November too.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I feel like last year, I remember there were big storms, but there were little pockets that were better.
Mm-hmm.
This year has been just consistently bleh.
And we're getting more. So the way that the jet stream and how the cold air keeps like intruding into the states, we are pretty much on that conveyor belt of each storm coming through. So we don't miss them
Yeah.
rarely.
Mhm,
Now,
mhm.
a lot of times before they would go further south
Mhm.
or they would clip up north. And now they're like, okay, we're going to stream right past you over
Yeah.
and over and over
Yeah.
again.
Alyssa's got
Yeah,
her,
Alyssa's saying
her,
over and
We'll be
over
back.
and over.
her runway flashlights over there.
I can't wait. I cannot wait.
Will you
until
be a
my
snowbird?
husband and I absolutely will. And my
Yeah.
husband is on the same page.
Do you know where?
No.
My husband wants to get a house in Italy.
Ooh.
I said, but that's not snowbird. That's like half of the year.
Yeah.
Like you
Her
gotta
hu-
be
That's
gone.
cool.
Or something.
though.
Her husband speaks my love language in a lot of ways. It's funny. I always wanted that. Legitimately, that was always
Really?
the goal. Yeah, a little place in Italy. My sister studied abroad in Spain, and when we went and visited her the first time in Spain, I remember she lived in this little village, and they would go downstairs, and there was this little cafe, and every morning she would get this piece of sourdough bread with like a crushed tomato and olive oil sauce
That
on
sounds
it
so cool.
with an espresso, and
Mhm.
it was like,
Sounds
this
good.
is the life. You would
Mhm.
sit outside, it was 75 degrees,
Yep.
sunny, a cool breeze coming off the water.
I'm all for
And
it.
I was like, wow, like you imagine doing this every single day.
Yes.
So then we always joked, like we would love a place in Florence. We would love a place somewhere in like the Tuscan village and go and be there for 4 or 5 months of the year. And then I got COVID and had to isolate there for a week.
Oh.
And that really ruined I don't have the burning desire to get back as often as I once thought I did.
Yeah, I mean, well,
It's
because
a little
that gives
trauma.
you, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's,
yeah,
the
that- yeah.
it's the trauma
Yeah.
of it all. But I think for me, it's more of it takes more to get there.
Oh, for sure.
You
That's the
know,
thing.
to get down to Florida,
Hop
you
on a-
can't fly. All right, well,
Mhm.
let's just
Get in the
take
car
a
and-
car,
yeah,
and, you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
get down there or whatever. But so it's a lot more to get over there.
Yeah, there is something so convenient about if you were going down to Tampa, Orlando, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, any of those places. You can get a direct flight from Buffalo on Southwest, relatively affordable.
Mhm,
You can
mhm.
go down and you're there in 2.5 hours.
Yep.
That is
Yeah.
Yep.
so incredible. And
So
it's
convenient.
It's so convenient. And like Autumn said, if you're going down there for 4 or 5 months, okay, get in your car, drive down there. It's going to stink. It's going to be 2 days if you split it up the right
Yeah,
way.
but you won't even.
But
at
who
4 to 5
cares? You're
months,
doing it
yeah,
for 4 to 5
yeah.
months. You got your car, then you don't have to have a car that
Yeah.
you keep there, and you could just be able to do it how you want. And then
Yeah.
other people can come and fly and meet you there. I mean,
Now you're
that's.
getting me
Now, I
like
don't want to move to Florida though.
excited.
Oh no, where would you want to go?
It would be somewhere else down south, but I just know it's not Florida.
See, mine would be Florida for the sake of the convenience,
Yeah,
more
see?
so than anything.
Yeah, I don't think.
Yeah,
Because like
that's
I
what
think
I
you
would
can make
say.
the you can make
I'd
the
go
argument
Florida.
of like, oh, I would love to go to Savannah, I would love to go to Charleston, I would love to go on the beach somewhere. Like I totally agree with all of those, but the convenience and the accessibility of Florida, I think, would be hard to pass up.
Yeah, well,
And there's so many different.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much variety of even
Mm-hmm.
from South Florida where it's almost like Hawaii to the northern section of Florida where you still kind of
Hawaii
can
would
have
be
winter.
cool.
Hawaii would be sweet.
That's also a hike.
Very far. Yeah.
Coming back. Welcome back to Studio 7. So we're talking about.
Yeah, we were talking about
where
like
we'd
if we
move.
were going to be
Leaving.
snowbirds, where
Yeah,
would we
getting
want
out
to
of
be?
here.
So where would be then your case if you don't want to do Florida
Somewhat
right now?
top of mind is Georgia, but we have not decided. We just know we do want to be snowbirds.
Uh-huh. Now, when you say Georgia, what are you looking for? Are you just looking for, hey, I want to be in a suburb of something warm, or do you want to live on a beach? Do you want to live in a
Yeah,
small
would you
vill-
be on the
like
coast
you talking
of
about like
Florida or
Savannah? Or are you
Georgia?
talking
All
about
of it.
Or
Atlanta?
like Atlanta, because Atlanta it definitely gets cold in the winter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
We haven't decided. We really, really haven't. But we just said we know we want to be snowbirds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We know we want to be snowbirds.
And then for you, it would be, I mean, is
Italy.
Italy realistic? Is like
It-
that,
it-
is that the
Italy is-
goal, or is that like the?
Italy is not realistic. But if we're going to shoot for the stars, then then I'll say Italy.
Yeah, for sure.
Ooh, I'm with Danielle.
I'd love
She'd
to go to London.
London.
I mean, for
London
a
is-
section of time.
Yeah, London is awesome, but
visit,
in the
but-
winter, London just rainy and cold. I mean, it's not. It's warmer than it is here, but I want to go somewhere warm.
I
want to
see the sun.
I want to see the sun, and I want to be. And I mean, I've talked about it on the. I'm not quite Disney adult, but I'm really, really close.
Yeah?
I'm knocking on the door. So for me to have access to that would be really, really cool as like a universal meeting place of if we lived in Florida, then we would
Do you
have family.
get the resident discount?
Yeah, no, you do. I mean, as long as if
Okay.
you're a Florida resident, and I mean that's the other thing
Yeah,
too. You got to
where's
figure
your
out like, okay,
residency?
you could be a Florida resident, and then you could have the no income taxes, and then you'd have to live there for 6 months and a day. And there's a lot of ways that you would have to do that, but there's obviously benefits there.
See, you're talking about Disney, and that would be.
And it's
you know,
not
a
like I
plus
would
for
do
you.
it every day, but it would be.
But it'd be a plus.
for sure.
It'd be a plus.
Absolutely.
I would want to go somewhere where I can just go on big food tours.
Yeah.
Like, so just travel.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, I'm sure the destination would have to be somewhere that is known for good food.
Really?
Absolutely.
Okay. So for me, if you did Georgia, the proximity to Atlanta would be incredible because obviously Atlanta is a huge city with a lot of things to offer, but it's also an easy place to get other places too. Like Atlanta's the busiest airport in the world. You can get direct flights to it from Atlanta
Everywhere.
to anywhere in the world that you would want to go, which is really, really nice. That's the one thing about Buffalo that's tricky. It's especially since COVID, getting direct flights out of Buffalo, there's very few locations you can go to. You can stay in the Northeast because
Yeah.
obviously, you know, you're by that and you can get to Florida. Other than that, couple directs a day to LA, couple directs a day to Denver, couple to Vegas, but I mean they're very few and far between, which is tricky.
Well, we have some folks in Arizona to get the sun.
I've never, you know, what's funny? I've never been to Arizona.
Have you ever wanted to?
I would love to. Arizona is, I think, Arizona is probably the last place in the continental U.S. that I haven't been to that I really want to get to.
You have sun.
I want
autumn.
to see. I would love to do kind of like a Winnebago travel the United States and do all the parks. Like that's what like a summer of doing that. Like, I
Alyssa's
would
shaking
love
her
to do
head.
that.
Yes.
That's my that
Yeah.
was
I
my
would-
that was my
Yeah.
dad growing up. I mean,
I
he
would
was
love to do that.
so my dad is from Elma, but his mom and dad were both teachers. So they had teacher schedules. So
Oh.
their summer vacations, but also, you know, teachers pretty modest living 50 years ago. So they would
Yeah.
get a car and they would just drive across the country and they would go to national parks and they would do all the different stops, have little picnics every single day. So that's what they did growing up. And I never really understood the appeal to it. And then this year we went to Mount Rainier State Park, and oh my goodness gracious, it was the most, it was one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I can understand why people get addicted to this. And then one of our neighbors in our neighborhood, his name's Sam, he's a retired teacher, and he told me afterwards, he's like, I'm so happy you went to Mount Rainier. I have been to almost all of the national parks 3 or 4 times minimum. And I said,
Oh,
wow.
wow.
I said, what's your
Nice.
favorite? And he said, whatever one I'm in. And I was like, that's such an incredible answer. I was like, that is
Yeah.
so beautiful and poignant.
Yeah, because
But,
he's in the moment.
yeah, that's something I just genuinely struggle with
Yeah.
about anything.
He's in
So
the
Well,
moment.
yeah, and you
Yeah.
need to be there. I kind of feel the same. We went to see the sequoias in Northern California, and it was more jaw dropping than I could have imagined. And from being there, and I think we were in Yosemite too. It was just like, okay, I got to see more of all of this.
Yeah.
Like all these parks, because there's a reason why, they designated them what they are,
what we have in our country is so incredible. You know,
It
you
is.
take it for granted.
Yeah.
There's always the joke on social media and online, like the European mind can't comprehend. And it's funny because I think there's a misconception, especially in Europe, that people in the United States are not well traveled. But you don't have to leave our country to become well traveled. All of the states have so many different things that they can offer.
That's true.
And I think that there's this mindset of like, oh, the US, it's like, it's not like different parts of the UK where it's like, okay, you're here and then there's 50 miles and then you're here. It's like, okay, you could be in Buffalo and then you could go to California and then you could go to Hawaii and then you could go to the desert and you could go to Florida. There's just so many different things that you can see in the country. So you don't really have to leave if you want to get a little bit of everything.
But listen, I'm
Right.
not a nature person, but I will have food ready for y'all. When
There
you
you go. There you go. When we do it, when
That's what you need. You need
right.
a little bit of each type of personality in order
Yeah.
to make it all come together.
yeah, you need a little bit of everything.
So Nancy says, "I love driving. You get to see more." I can agree with that.
I hate driving.
You do?
I hate driving.
Oh my God, I love a nice long road trip.
Really,
I do.
that to
I
me
love
is
a nice long road
that
trip.
is treacherous. to
That
me.
is like nature to me.
I
I'll
don't
watch the
mind
trees
driving.
from the car as we pass.
Driving's okay. We would always go to Kentucky when I was little, so it was almost an 8-hour trip. So we got used to like kind of having those longer car rides and stuff. But then once having a kid, it's like, okay, well now we got to stop and we got to do this.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
It's are we
Yeah.
there yet? Are we there yet? We drive
Yeah.
5 hours. She's like, this is the longest trip ever.
Mhm.
Like,
Oh,
okay.
I
Yeah.
love a nice long trip.
I don't have the patience or the mental capacity to just
Oh,
enjoy
I
it.
love it. It's the games in the car. I pack food.
I
Yeah,
imagine,
you
I
gotta have
imagine,
snacks.
yeah.
But we
Yeah.
have coolers, we have drinks, we have snacks. I mean, I prepare days in advance, and I absolutely love
We
it.
once did a drive. We had to go to Cleveland for something. Cleveland's
Mm-hmm.
2.5 hours, and my wife packed like we were never coming home. She brought like all of these different
get it.
snacks, and
I
I
understand.
remember looking at her and being like, "We're not even gonna stop before we get there. It's 2.5 hours." And she had enough that we could have probably went a week with just the snacks that she packed for us.
That's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
We got to go to break. We'll be right back. That time flew.
Well, that's
for sure.
when the schedule comes out every year. I always look and see, okay, where can you drive? Bless you. Where can you drive? Where can you
Thank you.
fly? My perception on it has changed over time. I used to really like the places that were different. I was like, ooh, I love going to Los Angeles. I love going, whatever. Next year, the Bills will play in Pittsburgh and Cleveland, and you have no idea how excited I am for quick, easy drives where I won't even stay the night. I'll go the day before the game. I will work the game, and then when the game is done, I will get in the car and drive home. No, I mean those 2.5 hours. It's incredible.
Yeah.
So easy
Yeah.
because it's priorities change.
Well, Pittsburgh is a fun city too.
Pittsburgh's
Cleveland
cool.
is too, but Pittsburgh is really cool.
Yeah, next year's schedule for Bills road games is not anything crazy. They go to Atlanta, they go to Charlotte, they go to Houston. They've got all their division games, and then they've got Pittsburgh and Cleveland.
When do they play? Oh, all that stuff's out already?
The opponents, you know well in advance. You don't know when they play the games.
I
So
really,
I know where I
okay.
know where they go. I just don't know when it'll be.
we need Miami here in the dead of winter,
Sure.
and we haven't had that.
Not in a little while.
Yeah.
Not in 3 years.
Yeah.
They played here in the middle of like a pretty big storm 3 years ago. The Bills won and then clinched, I believe, the AFC East in that game. That was a really fun.
Yeah, like the other ones were like October
Yeah,
or
this year-
whatever it was. It was ridiculous.
This
It
year
was not cold.
This year was right at the beginning of November.
Yeah.
I think it was like November 2nd or something this past season. It is definitely. I always like that's one thing you do look for is can you get down to Miami when it's bad here? So not
Yeah.
this past season, not the season that we just finished. The year before, they went to Miami for the last game of the regular season. I believe it was January 7th. You want to talk about a nice little perk? That's a nice little perk.
Yeah,
of going like,
that is
oh,
great to
yeah.
go there then. I don't like that they went there, during the hottest time. They sat them in
Yeah.
the sun and they nearly
Yeah.
made them all pass
This
out. That
this
was
year they didn't have to
wrong.
deal with that because it was a night game. But I'll tell
Yeah.
you, if you saw me on television that day, I looked like I fell into a pool.
Oh my
I
gosh.
was so muggy and gross, and
Yeah.
it rained all day. And then we were outside doing all of these live shots, and I knew it was bad because Marcel, who used to do the show here, now he works in Miami, he was out for one segment for 10 minutes. He had to walk outside, and he walked out with a cup of ice to literally just put on the back of his neck. And I was like, it's that bad. He was like, dude, you're gonna be a mess. It was like
A
you could
mess.
have taken just
Ugh.
done that. It was
Ugh.
disgusting.
Uh,
Yeah, it was gross.
we're
And-
coming back soon.
And I said I want to live there.
Only when it's not like that.
Exactly. When it's not like that.
Don't want to do it. Don't want to do it. We're coming back soon. Welcome back to Studio 7. So are we watching the Super Bowl?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
I'm going to a
definitely.
party, so I'm sure I'll see some of it.
Yeah, yeah, we're definitely watching. There's people who I'm sure are going to say like boycott Super Bowl, and I understand the thought process there, but no, I'm going to watch the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My
gotta-
daughter goes to UB and she is off campus, but they have a beautiful theater.
Mhm.
And she invited us all to watch the Super Bowl there. So
Okay. That
is
I said, I'll
so
bring the
much fun.
snacks.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure she wants to have her mom there, but in the
Uh-huh.
back of her mind, she's like, my mom,
Uh huh.
she can make some food.
She's
Yep,
bringing.
yep.
She's bringing
Yeah.
the
She
good stuff.
can make
Yeah,
some food.
because when I said the first thing I said is I'll bring the snacks, and she goes yay in our
Yeah.
group chat. So they
Uh,
absolutely set
What
me up
will
for
be
that.
on the menu? What will be on the menu?
My son said chicken wing dip. He loves my chicken wing dip.
Sure.
I'll probably do like some dry rub ribs. Shut up, man. But what?
It's just like my speed is like going to Sam's Club and bringing like pre-made cookies, and you're making dry rubbed
Pre-
ribs.
Pre-rub cookies are good too,
Yeah,
but
pre-rubbed cookies, pre-made rubbed cookies.
oh my
I
God.
hope it's with
Remember
clean
at
hands.
Christmas I said something
Yeah.
about Santa?
Yeah,
We were talking about white
Yes.
elephant and
Yeah.
oh my
Yeah.
God, sorry, food is on the brain.
my
Cookies are good too.
my speed is going down an aisle at Schmegman's and finding the zebra
Schmegman's.
cakes and the oatmeal cream pies and being like, I brought both. Like, this is
My-
my speed.
Mine is I have this nice football platter that I'm going to do veggies and fruit in
Nice.
in a nice way and
Nice.
make the dips. So I'll
Mhm.
make the dips for the vegetable and for the
Yeah.
fruit.
Yeah.
And here she is with her dry
Pre-rubbed cookies.
Yeah.
Because Howard is like, oh my God, that's gross. I just got a visual.
My mom taught me at a pretty young age that if you go and buy something that's already been made by a professional and then put it on your own plate or tray, sometimes you can get away with it.
Sometimes.
And that is
Sometimes, yeah.
very much how I approach a lot of things.
but the right
So,
folks can sniff it out. The right folks will sniff it out.
but I'm not hanging out with foodies.
rub.
I'm not hanging out with foodies. They won't know what's going on.
Everybody is saying go Eagles.
Of
Everyone's
course
saying
they
go
are.
Eagles.
Everybody is saying go
That's
Eagles.
not a surprise at all.
Are we looking forward to the commercials?
I would be surprised if somebody in the thing said go Chiefs.
Nope.
And I don't
Everybody
think
is
that's
saying
going,
go
I don't
Eagles.
think that's going to happen.
Commercials, do you look forward to them?
I used to.
I love the funny ones.
Yeah,
I love the funny ones.
love funny ones. I used to really enjoy just seeing like what they would come up with, but
Uh-huh.
they have them out so far
Yeah.
in advance now too that
Mhm,
you
mhm,
can
mhm.
see them in like a multiple areas.
It's
And
been a long time since I've laughed at a commercial, like a Super Bowl
Really?
commercial.
So
yeah.
you didn't laugh at the Dunkin' Donuts commercial with Ben Affleck?
No,
Mm.
no. I my barometer might just be I like more slapstick stuff than more
Mm,
like. But
mhm,
Yeah,
mhm.
I'm-
yeah. It's been a while since I can remember for a Super Bowl commercial being like, "Wow, that's good."
Yeah.
And so I just don't really care. But
Mm.
we'll, you got to gamble a little bit.
Nancy said, I just want my numbers to come in.
Yeah, Nancy, what are your numbers? I'm sure everybody's probably got a lot of people got Super Bowl squares. That's always fun. You got to
Mhm.
see what your numbers come in. You gonna bet a little bit?
Me, I don't know.
You should.
I don't know how to do that for a game.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure.
How do you do it?
Ask your son. He probably would know how. You just have to get the apps, and I don't think I should probably
oh,
be.
like that
I
type
don't
of
think I
betting.
should
I'm
be
like, I got a
advocating
Super Bowl
gambling.
square.
No. Huh? What'd you say?
I said I got Super Bowl square. That's about the only type of betting that I have done.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm excited for the game. The Super Bowl, I always said the Super Bowl used to be one of my favorite days of the year until the Bills got good again. And now
Yeah,
it very
it's
much
tough.
feels like a missed opportunity, and
Mhm.
I'll hate watch it a little bit. But when they
Yeah.
were bad, it was it was so out of the realm of possibility that I didn't even really like think about, oh, the Bills could one day be playing in this game, because I'm too young to remember the early 90s Super Bowl runs. I was barely alive. I was alive for 2 of the 4, but obviously, I'm an infant, so I don't remember them. But yeah, I mean, so the majority of my life, the Bills were terrible. So the Super Bowl was always really fun because it was like, oh yeah, like look at these teams, whatever.
Yeah, there's no stakes in
There's
it.
no stakes. But now all of these people who are commenting "Go Eagles," they're commenting "Go Eagles" because the Chiefs have been the thorn in the side of the Bills for the last 4 years in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, Danielle did say she's boycotting.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people say that, but I still think a lot of people are going to be watching.
Oh
Fingers-
yeah, when does this come out?
9:00 tonight is
Not
the NFL
why?
because it's in LA. Excuse me, no, it's not in LA. It's in New Orleans. So they're an hour back. It normally starts at 8. I was like, I forgot
Okay.
what the Super Bowl was. I got bad news though.
What?
I don't think he's going to win.
Really?
He should, but I don't think he's going to.
Why do you think that?
There's been a lot of chatter and momentum for Lamar to get his 3rd MVP. So it feels like it's kind of trending in that direction. I want to make it clear. I think that Josh is the MVP of the NFL. I think he should get it, and I think he deserves to win it. But it feels kind of just reading the tea leaves like it's going to be Lamar. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong.
Lori, he did say 9:00 tonight.
9 p.m. is when the show begins. I believe it runs 9 to 11,
And
that's the
he's-
biggest award. So that's like
And
that's
Josh
like
never
album of
won?
the year. It's no. Josh has been a finalist 4 times. He's
Oh.
never won
Okay,
MVP.
so Lamar, he's going for 3. If Lamar gets it, let me say it right now. I bet the Chiefs win because it's 3.
Oh, like 3 in a row. Is
Yep.
that your like conspiracy? Like
That's
okay,
it.
3 in a row.
There we
But
go.
but
There's
Lamar,
my
Alyssa,
conspiracy
Alyssa,
theory
yeah,
going
yeah.
out there.
So, but it's not just Josh, I should say. So Deion Dawkins is up for Walter Payton Man of the Year, which is
Well, I hope he gets that.
which is probably the most powerful and important award because that is about all of the things that he does off of the field.
I love
Which
that.
is amazing.
And he's great.
And he has been nominated 3 times, and he has not won, but he's going up against 32 people, so it's a little bit different. And then for Josh, MVP, DeMar Hamlin, comeback player of the year, Joe Brady, assistant coach of the year. All right, we gotta go.
Yeah, Alyssa's
Bye,
saying
everybody.